My father called an emergency board meeting on Tuesday, declaring a new era for our multi-billion-dollar tech firm, Obsidian Systems. We sat around the mahogany table, my older brother, my younger sister, and me. For 5 years, I lived in the server rooms, writing the predictive AI algorithm that transformed us from a struggling startup into a global powerhouse. I assumed today I'd finally get my equity before our public launch. Instead, my father slid 3 thick leather folders across the glass. My brother opened his. 60%, he whispered, a greedy smile spreading, and the CEO title. My sister opened hers. 30%, and total control of the European division. My hands shook as I opened my folder. There was no equity contract. There was only a cashier's check for $10,000 and an ironclad non-disclosure agreement. Attached was a sticky note in my father's handwriting, for your contracting services. I stared at the check. Is this a joke? I asked. My father didn't blink. You were an employee, Marcus. A well-compensated one. Your brother has the leadership to take Obsidian public. You're too unpredictable. Sign the NDA, take your bonus, and clear out your desk by 5. My brother steepled his fingers. Don't make this hard. You wrote some good code, but I built the brand. Be grateful. Good code? I choked. I built the entire neural framework. The algorithm is mine. Check your contract, my father said coldly. Everything you created belongs to Obsidian. Security is waiting. Just like that, I was erased. I squirted out of the building I practically built, carrying a cardboard box while my brother popped champagne. I didn't sleep that night. I just stared at the $10,000 check, a cold, hollow rage replacing my grief. But the rage brought clarity. My father was ruthless, but he wasn't a genius. He didn't understand the code. And the foundational logic for my algorithm, I hadn't invented it out of thin air. It was based on a complex mathematical cipher my late mother taught me before she died in a sudden car accident when I was 12. Driven by instinct, I drove to my childhood home while my father courted Wall Street investors. I broke into the attic and tore through boxes of my mother's things my father had forbidden us from touching. Hidden inside the lining of an old winter coat, I found a brass key and a ledger. The next morning, I sat in a private bank room, opening a safety deposit box that hadn't seen light in 15 years. Inside were notarized documents, original software patents, and a leather-bound diary. As I read, the floor dropped beneath me. My mother wasn't just a math teacher. She was a brilliant cryptographer. She developed the original architecture for the Obsidian algorithm decades ago. The diary detailed how my father had slowly siphoned her ideas, pitching them under his own name. The final entry was dated the day she died. He knows I'm leaving him, she wrote. I told him I'm taking the patents. If anything happens to me, the override is built into the Genesis block. The sequence is my maiden name. She hadn't died in a random accident. My father built his empire on her grave, forced me to finish her work, and was now throwing me away. I didn't hire a lawyer. A lawsuit would take years. I needed something absolute. The day before Obsidian's historic IPO, I walked into the lobby. Security tried to stop me, but I knew the building's blind spots. I slipped into the main server hub. My father locked my credentials, but he didn't know about the Genesis block. He didn't know his billion-dollar company was tied to a dormant backdoor my mother had written. I typed in the command prompt. I entered the sequence, ELIASON. A prompt blinked. Authorization accepted. Initiate protocol Omega. I hit enter. In an instant, the Obsidian network formatted itself. The proprietary algorithm shredded, encrypting into an unreadable mess across all global servers. I didn't steal the code. I returned it to its rightful owner. Alarms blared as I walked out. The IPO was canceled before the market opened. Without the algorithm, Obsidian Systems was just empty servers. The stock valuation plummeted to 0 overnight. My father called, screaming, "You destroyed us!" "No," I said, my voice ice cold. "I just took back what you stole from her." Investigations into the collapse led the SEC to uncover decades of financial fraud and forged patents. He's awaiting trial. My brother works mid-level IT at a miserable firm. I framed that $10,000 check. It hangs in my new office at Elias & Tech, the startup I founded using my mother's legally undisputed patents. Sometimes, the best way to win a rigged game isn't to play your hand. It's to flip the table entirely.